So we're back. It's Queen Pin and Rich. Okay, and today we're talking about self-image. We always talk about how we see other people, how other people see us, but we don't talk about how we see ourselves. And one of the keys you and I spoke about is confidence, self-esteem.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with self-image. So how do we work on that? Because you are the looks guy, you are the, image guy. So how, because you work with a lot of people that are going from A to Z or A to B, so to speak.
Right.
So how do we start working on that?
Well, I think a lot of people have to take an honest approach. What do they truly want to look like?
Okay.
How do they want to be perceived? A lot of people have issues with a lot of other people, the way they look, right? It could be fitness. They really don't have any idea of how people are looking at them. But even when they usually figure out and say, hey, wait a minute, I'm a jean and t-shirt guy. Let's just say, not me. I'm saying somebody, I don't give a shit about fashion. I can care less, right? That's still kind of your image. You understand that. But a lot of people be like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of wearing jeans and a t-shirt. I want to change my identity, but I'm afraid too to lose my identity, right? Because you always spoke, you don't give a shit about fashion, or you don't care about the way you look, all these different types of things. You don't want to sell out, whatever the hell it is. But the truth is, you have to first figure out, what do you truly want to be? What do you want to look like? Quit kind of getting caught up with maybe too, a lot of us too will be like, that dude's or that woman, look, she's in great shape. Who gives a shit? I'm never going to work out like her. That guy looks great. He's got a six-pack. Who gives a shit? And then all of a sudden, as time goes on, you may want those things. You may want a six-pack. You may want to look better. There is nothing wrong with admitting that. I think part of the problem is people don't want to admit that they want to look better. And I start with a lot of times in saying, looking better too, is kind of not only what you're going to, put the time in. Let's say it's not only about that. What can you afford? My uncle used to have a saying, the trick to sometimes fashion, or whatever you want to call it, is whatever you can afford is looking great in it. So you don't sometimes have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to look great. You can do it very affordably. You just got to kind of figure out how to do that. Because a lot of people think that for me to look better, I'm going to have to spend hundreds of dollars, women, on my hair. And I'm going to always have to have my nails done. And I'm going to have to go buy Chanel, or I'm going to have to carry a Louis bag. I'm going to have to wear, whatever. I have to shop at Versace, Gucci, wherever you think.
The funny thing is, I think those things are so much fun. I have done Chanel. I have, for those that don't know, in my teenage years from 16 to 18, I actually worked in the fashion industry. Yeah, I was a gopher back when we had gophers. And I worked in the fashion district in New York City.
That's awesome.
So, and I learned a lot of these things. So like gifts for me were Chanel bags, or, I had my first Louis Vuitton purse at 18.
Sure.
And it was a gift.
Yeah.
So, but learning how to, and one of the things was I worked for a company that's unfortunately no longer in business, but I worked for a company that made low-end products. And one of the cool things was when they would get samples, if I could fit them and they were done with them in the showroom, I could have them.
That's awesome.
So I learned to accessorize with high-end items and low-end items.
Sure.
And I don't know if you remember back then, that's when sample sales were all the rage in the 90s, like early 90s. So you were like, okay, you're finding all these great things, but you may not be able to afford them on every budget. So I learned, hey, you want this, but you still want it to match that.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting you bring that up. A lot of people can't afford to buy a lot of things when they plan on changing their image or upgrading their image. But there are things, and we talked about on a previous podcast, where when you buy certain items, you have to think about what it's going to match with within your closet,
Right.
right? Back to if I have certain colors or I buy all funky things and it's only a one-off that I can only wear with certain types of looks, we kind of want to take certain shirts, shoes, pants, look amazing, but we can wear them with multiple different things in
Right.
the closet, not kind of starting from scratch. Uh, but yeah, that's awesome that you worked in that fashion district.
Yeah, I love the fashion district. It's like a second home to me. It's like a second home to me.
That's awesome. I hang out in a lot of fashion districts. I'd say more, kind of LA, but my family was from the garment industry. My grandfather owned the largest tailor shop in all of Chicago for many, many years. And then my family branched off from there. And that's kind of how I ended up into getting involved with
Modeling.
fashion and
Yeah.
modeling and film and all that. But yeah. Back to, yeah, we can go
So
through this today.
yeah, but I think the thing with self-image is one of the things is we're always worried about, and we can say, well, if I hang out with Rich, what am I going to wear? What am I going to do? And we're always have this in our mind, like, but the thing is, do I feel confident in what I'm wearing?
Yeah, it all has to first stem down to being confident with who you are, right? Because a lot of times we're not even that confident with the way we look, our bodies say, so we may not be in great shape.
Right.
So again, I don't care if I put Versace on you, Armani, you may put a suit on, don't get me wrong, and be like, wow, I look better. Okay. But maybe you're in an environment where a lot of people not only look better with fashion, they may be in better physical shape than you. Or you may be in an environment where people have better hair than you. I'm just using for an example, better teeth, look more wealthier than you, have better jewelry than you. So all that is kind of meaningless. You have to be comfortable with who you are first and foremost. I talk about it in my book, The Model Bible, there's always going to be somebody better looking than you. I can assure you. Somebody's taller than you. Someone's gonna be in better shape than you. Someone's gonna be prettier than you. Someone has better hair than you. Someone has better eyes, teeth. I could go down the list. None of that matters. You are who you are. You also may not realize you may be somebody who a lot of people envy as well. On the flip side,
And I think that's the funny thing is someone wrote a meme once that said, people may be jealous of you even though you have a lot less than they do. Yeah. And I was like, wait, what?
Yes.
And I was like, wait, that was nothing that ever crossed my mind. But you do have people that are jealous of something that you possess that they don't.
Yeah, and it's not only about looks. You may be in a great relationship. Somebody could be jealous of, or you may be in a great family. You may be you may be a horrible husband, but a great dad. I'm just saying to other men. You could be, with women, whatever the case may be. You may be, jealous. Someone may be jealous of your career, even though you don't make more money than them. So say I'm in the film industry, I'm making films and I'm losing money. Then I have my other buddies that are lawyers making a tremendous amount of money. I'm just using them for an example. Not they are jealous, but they're like, man, you get to do whatever you want all day, all night. It's a blast. You're doing your dream. And they're looking at themselves saying, I work 80 hours a week and I have to deal with all these clients. You know what I mean? All the issues. It's all about problems. So you have all these different things. A lot of people don't realize people really, I think a lot of times underestimate how other people look at them.
Right.
Let's call it for what it is. Because a lot of people feel ugly. They're not that ugly. A lot of people feel like, they don't dress that great. And actually they may be very stylized.
I have a friend that I swear I told him, I said, you could get any woman you wanted. And he literally looks at me and goes like, are you talking to me? And I'm like,
right,
dude, we've been friends forever. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that women are always flocking to you? And he's like, because they want something I have. And I said, no, you look amazing. Remember, it's one thing that I learned, and this is one thing that I learned from the Food Network. A lot of things we do with our eyes, including eat, because you are more likely to try something that you think looks appetizing as opposed to something that's delicious and looks like a hot mess.
Sure.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. And we've all done it. We've all gone to a restaurant and go, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. It tastes like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. So we do things with our eyes first, and this is not what we're recognizing. But one of the things in self-image, I think, is I realized even with myself, for a while, I would not look in the mirror, short of brushing my teeth, making sure my face was clean, but making sure my hair was done, that was it. But to really like take a look at myself in the mirror and take stock of myself, that was like a no-no. And at one point it was taking a big, and ladies, I have to tell you, this takes a big hit for us. It does. It works on our self-esteem because we're looking, and I don't think guys realize this, like, especially when we're with a guy, they don't realize we're looking for them to give us that feedback.
Sure.
That, hey, hon, you look amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you look great. And we're trying to figure out, you know, well, why isn't he saying this? And this is why we won't look in the mirror, because he's not saying it. So we're looking for it on the outside, but we don't realize we should actually be exuding that. We should be pushing it outward. And one of the things was, after a while, I started from the point where I put on my underwear and I'm like, girl, that bra looks amazing.
There you go.
Hey, okay, you know, yeah, is the top right? Is the dress right? Are we there? And now you are, and I will tell you this, ladies, we have to go back. Okay, Rich, close your ears. Ladies, we have to go back to our 13-year-old self with the hairbrush and the song that you have, and you're in the mirror with everybody's had one, and that long mirror, and you're singing to yourself and you are hyping yourself up. That's what you have to do. You have to become that hype woman at whatever age you are. You have to go back to your 13-year-old self and say, hey girl, we're here.
Yeah, back to the image, exactly what you're saying is when people look at themselves, they're looking at all their flaws, not their strengths most of the time. So that's what you're carrying. And I see that with a lot of women. Let's call it for what it is.
It is.
They're also looking for reassurance from others that really, why would you even have to have that from someone else? And why would you put that on anyone else?
And I think that's one of the things is we do.
Yeah, like if you did the makeup, you should feel proud you did the makeup. Some guy doesn't even do your makeup. Maybe he doesn't even know about makeup. He doesn't know you went to a salon and spent a substantial amount of time, because I'm bald. I don't hang in salons. I'm just saying, right? You went out maybe and found an unbelievable dress and you love it. Why does he have to love it? He may like it and love it, but the reality is you have to be the one that feels confident in it and who's comfortable in it.
Exactly.
Right? You're the one who's going to take that dress home. You're the one who's going to take care of that dress. And you're the one who spent money on that dress. If this guy goes to you and says, what kind of dress is that? You'll be like, oh my God, this is I don't even, you know what? You're right. I got to take this back. Blah, blah. No, when you were in the dressing room, you loved it.
Right.
You got to have confidence that, you know, if you believe in yourself, and back to looking at your strengths. But I think what happens with a lot of people, we were programmed, men and women, to not really, I don't want to say take care of ourselves, but not really like pat ourselves on the back and say, you look good, right? Instead, we were kind of programmed, if we're looking in the mirror too much, oh my God, you're so vain. You're self-centered. Well, listen, here's the deal. Call me whatever the hell you want. I always wanted to have a great body or stay in shape. I always wanted to look really strong in hygiene. I always wanted to take care of my teeth. I wanted all these things. And people would always be like, Rich, it's all about, you know, a look with you. I'm like, no, it's all about health and wellness. A lot of this.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me feel better. And I like the way I look in it. You don't have to wear it. I do. I don't care if you like this or not necessarily. I mean, maybe if I wear something that's offensive, which maybe a t-shirt or something, but for the most part, what I get is what I feel best in. I'm not buying things to fit in to what somebody else thinks I should look like. That makes absolutely no sense.
And I think one of the things is we have this, they won't like it, or they're keeping us from this. And when you honestly think about it, Who is they?
Yep.
Who is
Exactly.
they? Because you can't name the they, you can't talk about who the they is, you can't pinpoint who they is.
Yep.
But they won't allow us, they won't like it, they are going to say something. Who is they?
Yeah, most of that is, let's call it for what it is. It's our parents, it's our siblings, it's our family members, close friends and colleagues, right? And it's our social media. I would bundle all these up. That's kind of who a lot of people are worried about, what their like maybe their image is going to look like to them, right? The truth is, you have to create the image that you feel most comfortable in, that is going, basically to live the life that you desire. If you all of a sudden like decide that, I go through this with a lot of guys, and I did a podcast on this, especially when they become middle-aged. And if, say, a middle-aged guy decides he's in his 40s to get in better shape, or in his 50s, he's classified as kind of, what do they call that? Having a midlife crisis. Right. And I think women go through it too after a few kids. They want to start going to the gym. They want to look good again.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that? But society will be like, oh my God, look at him now. Even after you get a divorce, a lot of times men and women all of a sudden will get in better shape. They will look better. And a lot of times I'll say, why don't you do that in your marriage? But a lot of times they both kind of restricted one from the other of changing their image, or like saying, you know what? I want to change the way I look. I want to start wearing these type of clothes. I'm sick of looking like a mother. I'm sick of looking like Mr. Mom. All these things.
And I mean, we had a term, what was it? Mom jeans.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
You did not want to be caught dead in mom jeans.
Right.
And that was the thing. And we don't realize, and I think one of the things even you touched on as parents, we want our kids to look amazing. We want our kids to look, we will shop till we drop for our children. But at some point, sometimes we go, I'm not doing that for myself. And even when my son was younger, I remember I had gone, I think, and bought him a whole new wardrobe, close to $1,000. And I decided, hey, you know what? I want to buy this shirt. And the shirt was $15. And I literally stood there and talked myself out of spending $15 on myself.
Sure.
And it was
crazy.
like, this is nuts.
Why? Who programmed your mind to start thinking that way? You did a lot of times, right? Especially when we're adults. We can't blame parents, friends, and colleagues and everybody. It's tough because with identity, say a mom will all of a sudden be like, I'm going to get a minivan because that wants to be her identity. Then you have other mothers, I'll just say, that say, I am never getting a minivan because I don't want to look like a mom, right? We kind of have all these things. Same with men. I don't want to wear a suit because it's a monkey suit and it looks like I'm corporate and a sellout, or even a sport coat. I want to be a t-shirt and jeans guy. And then you have it's kind of all these identities that we kind of put in our head too, that really are unrealistic, because most of the people aren't even thinking the way you're always thinking, if that makes sense.
Right.
If I wear a sport coat, I think it looks cool and badass if I want to wear a certain one. I'm not thinking I look like a lawyer, but if I'm a lawyer, I'm thinking, oh my God, I always have to wear this sport coat and it makes me look like a lawyer. I'm just like how you can.
Right.
Kind of, there's a lot of different things, but you just got to be comfortable with what you want in your life, because a lot of people want attention. They want it. They pretend they don't want it. Stop pretending you don't want it. But that doesn't mean you have to go over the top like you're dying to get attention. But if you're a dude, I'll use a lot of times, when they go out, they do want someone to compliment them on their clothes, their style, their jewelry, but they won't admit it. Instead, they'll just say, you know what, I'd rather just fit in like everyone else. No, dude, if you want to look a certain way, you want to attract maybe a certain type of woman, you want to do these things, you want to wear crazy boots or shoes. I talk about a lot of times, because a lot of things start with the shoes. I say you slip into the shoe, you feel confident in that shoe. Now every step you take, and you feel confident. And a lot of women and men look at your shoes. You want a cool shoe or a cool belt buckle or whatever, do it because you like it, and maybe other people like it as well. But anyways, we could go on and on with fashion, but
but that's really what it is the self-image. And I think a lot of times we need to take a key from the kids' book, because even going back a little bit to fashion, I remember my son was 3, 4. This kid wanted to be in a double-breasted suit every single day. I was
Right.
like, dude, where are you going? Like, literally, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
But this was his role, and
Yeah.
he wouldn't want me to dress him in anything else.
Right.
And after a while, he started to change.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized when he was happy with who he was. He was happy being on the playground in a pullover vest and a dress shirt.
Yep.
That was him.
Yep.
And we go, because I see mothers do it all the time, especially with their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not taking her to Walmart in a princess dress. And I'm like, why? Why? Today she wants to be a princess.
Yeah.
Guess what? Most women and ladies, you're gonna get mad. And sorry, not sorry. we plan our wedding from the time we were little.
Yeah.
And most of the time we are planning just for the wedding day. We want to look like a princess. Guess what? If you let that little girl go to Walmart, CVS, Target, wherever, go to lunch dressed as Princess Elsa, Cinderella, Snow White, whatever, Princess Tiana, whomever, if she wants to wear a tiara, feather boa, whatever, let her do it.
Have fun.
Have fun. And guess what? She won't be getting married at a wedding day just to have the ceremony and dress like a princess. She'll be getting married to get married.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't realize we're not getting that out of our systems.
Yeah, a lot of people frown upon fun too with their image. So my girlfriend, she moved to Orlando, and then I said, you got to get, season tickets to all the Disney parks. She's obsessed with Disney, and she went to Oregon, which the duck is their mascot. So started to go to Disney more and more, and started to dress in costumes and does reels and TikToks and all these unbelievable photos at Disney, even through the pandemic. And she loves it. And it's an escape. And a lot of people will be like at the beginning, is she kind of crazy? Because I didn't realize she's an adult that loves Disney. I'm like, is she in a cult with Disney? Whatever. I'm like, she enjoys herself. She escapes.
She enjoys herself. Let me tell you something, guys. I love Hello Kitty. And I don't care what anyone says. Hello Kitty is not a 3-year-old little girl. It's a cat with a backpack.
Where is my Hello? I have a look at this. Hello Kitty.
Exactly. Yes. I love Hello Kitty.
I got hundreds of Squishmallows around me. A bunch of Hello Kitties.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have fun with it. And I think that's one thing is how do we say it? Let your freak flag fly.
Yeah.
And just have fun. Just have fun.
Yeah. I think women are a little more open-minded to doing those things, where men get a little, I think you have these different levels in your life as a man, right? Like you're in high school, and then you hit college. You're supposed to be a college guy. Maybe you end up in a frat, maybe not. You have this type of image. Then all of a sudden you go in the world, and depending on what type of career you have, you're supposed to fit that mold, right? Then a lot of them get married. Now I'm supposed to be this type of dad, right? I'm just saying. And then at middle-aged, I'm supposed to be this type of dad now, right? And I'm supposed to be this type of grandfather. The truth is, you can be whatever the hell you want to be. Because a lot of times my kids would make fun of me because if I'm driving a convertible, I have my shirt off. They're like, you can't do that. I'm like, I could do whatever I want to do. Right. Or, you wear a lot of workout clothes, you're all these different type of clothes. They laugh at me that maybe the other fathers aren't wearing. And we could even go to a birthday party. Sometimes I may be dressed one way, but I'm fit enough to wear whatever the hell I want to wear. I'm just saying, they're like, oh, you're hilarious with these clothes, but I'm like, I dress like maybe athletes, because that's who I'm. Even though I'm 52, I still want to look very athletic, where no one my age, for the most part, that I know, or maybe a couple, they may wear athletic clothes, but only to the gym, right? Out of the gym, they kind of look like golfers. I'm like, I don't want to look like a 56-year-old golfer all the time. I want to look, very fit and try unique clothes out that are, you know, different than what everyone else is also going to dress like at this party. Not that I'm starving for attention, but I feel good in athletic clothes because it inspires me to do more athletic things.
Right, right. Well, I
So
mean, like even one of the craziest things I do, and the fam clan is not too happy about it, but I have been known to do things like get the whole produce section in the supermarket to start doing the moonwalk.
I like it.
You know, I start my own flash mob for no reason, but
I love it.
it's fun, and I mean that's the cool thing is that why not? Why not? It's a few moments. The song is on. You're having a great time. Everybody's having a great time, and for that few moments, you get to have fun. Go on about your day. And I've even had people say stuff like, "You made my day. You made my day. I was having a crappy day, and you made my day." Okay, I didn't plan to have an impromptu dance party at the supermarket, but it happened.
Right.
But yeah, so why not?
Yeah, an image too. You gotta, I'm not saying take risks, but be on understand that you're gonna probably look different at different times regarding what event you're in. So if I'm at a
Exactly.
convention speaking or I'm with a consulting or something, right? I am gonna talk different. And if I
Right.
go to a football game, I'm going to look and dress different. If I'm with my daughters having a blast, I can be different. When I'm with my buddies, I'm going to be F-bombing in an Italian restaurant. I'm probably going to be different, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of people, though, too, think when they want to improve their image or change their image, I always have to be this way. Like, wait, I want to be a cool dude who gets chicks, right? Or gets a lot of
And I
women.
think that's the thing is we're so stilted about this is my image. I have to be this all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
And
You
I
don't
think
eat the same thing all the time. You don't take
exactly.
the same route to work or to church or to anywhere all the time. Why do you have to be that particular person every single day?
Yeah, when I was in LA, I kind of learned a lot about that because, you know, 10, 12 years ago, when I mean, the internet's been around for 15 years, but when you were really kind of like, you got to be your brand, right? Your
Right.
website's got to be who you are, and you got to almost look like that in every photo. And Facebook is taken off and Instagram. But if
Right.
you're confusing, dude, you're at a gym, and then wait a minute, you're dressed up at a sport coat, and then you're at a fashion event, then you're at a film event, but then later you're in a coffee house with your dogs. And then, you know, you're dressed all different ways. I'm like, because that's who I am throughout
Right.
my entire life. I like wearing preppy clothes one day, then I'll look very fashionable and wear layers. And then the next day I'm wearing athletic wear. Next day I'm wearing golf wear. And then the next day you'd swear I'm in a, like going to a wedding. I'm very stylized with a three-piece suit
Wow.
again. So if you kind of look, I said, that's who I am. And I'm not saying everybody has to, but you got to
But
be
that's who you
authentic.
are.
You got to be authentic. I'm not going to always like, I think at the beginning too, with a lot of images with me on doing a lot of things where, you know, you're going to the Emmys or something, or you're on red carpets all the time and everyone's thinking, oh, that's the type of guy Rich is. He's a Hollywood guy. I'm like, I'm nowhere near that, dude. I go to these events, have a blast. And believe me, I talk different than them. I act different than them. I even took a picture at a red carpet event. It looked like I passed out and I was drunk on the like on the carpet, and had all these people like somebody like as a joke. But I'm like, that's my personality. And what was funny, they're like, Rich, you can't do that. I'm like, do you
Oh
really
my
think,
gosh.
yeah, you think that people think that I passed out drunk and everybody's taking a wonderful picture at, what was it?
No,
That was at the
no.
was it a huge film festival in outside Hollywood? What the hell was that? But anyways, you got all these people that are very well known standing there, and I'm laying across from them with a couple empty bottles of, you know, Burbank International Film Festival. But
Oh my
again,
gosh.
it's having fun within your brand, but again, saying I'm comfortable enough. And sometimes I wouldn't wear a sport coat. They're like, Rich, you know what type of event this is? I would just wear a cool shirt. I'm like, I don't want to always look like this. I'm not a guy who's going to always come in with a, you know, a pocket scarf and, you know, a sport coat and all these things. I'm dressed up, but I don't want to look like all you today. I'm sorry. I don't want to look like that today. I don't even want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm wearing something that nobody I know is going to wear here, this style shirt, or I may wear a turtleneck with a vest. And they're like, what the hell is that? I'm like, exactly. You don't know what it is. I'm
Right.
dressing, it's different. So again, we always go back to the beginning. It's confidence, right? Let's call it for what it is. If you don't, you've got to have the confidence for one to believe in yourself. And you got to understand, you have so much creativity inside of you. A lot of people suppress it. So like you, you may, go in your closet, get creative. You don't always have to wear the same pair of pants with the same shirt, with the same baseball cap, with the same shoes. You probably have so many looks and things you can do with your makeup, your hair. Men too, different facial hair I talk about. You can have like a 5 o'clock shadow. You could have a full beard. You could go goatee, mustache, try different things. You could be bald. You could do, there's so many things in your life
you can do. Exactly.
But people suppress it. They get scared. They're like, if I have a goatee, I'm going to look like a cowboy or a hillbilly or whatever. They're like, no, it may look great on you, because I'll tell you, a lot of Hispanics wear them and they look amazing. So I don't know in your mind, right? I'm just saying, or a beard. I got to always be clean shaved. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're bald, you may want to bring some color here.
Yeah.
Because it brings color to your face and it lowers the eyes. And then, so.
Yeah, like it was, I actually had, for those who know, about natural hair, and I had the hardest time going natural.
I'm sure.
And it was like, I had this idea, and it was really like, part of it was promoted through, you have to look like this. You have to look like that. And then it was, I will be real, in the beginning of natural hair acceptance for women of color, the ideas were not out there, and everybody kind of looked like they woke up half treasure troll. And it was like, I don't want to look like I just rolled out of bed. And I actually had to start, and this is where one of the things changed for me was Google and YouTube became two of my best friends. Because I said to myself, I said, if this is actually better for my hair, if this is actually better for me, then let me find out. Because one of the things that most women will not tell you, and most people will not tell you, is putting a lot of those chemicals in your hair. Actually, after a while, I started having chemical burns.
Oof.
And I was having reactions to the chemicals in my hair,
right,
and in my scalp. So I decided, hey, let's go natural.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to do with my hair. I didn't know. I mean, I was used to, because at one point my hair was down here.
Sure.
And I'm used to pulling it back in a ponytail, leaving it out, curling it. No one told me, hey, girlfriend, you can curl your hair, still curl your hair. For those that don't know, I am not only African-American, I am Latina as well. So being an Afro-Latina, it's kind of hard. So, and for those of you that are like, wait, you can't be Latina. Yes, we come in all different shades and colors.
Like Italians, like a lot of different nationalities.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things of, I just did not know what to do. I had no clue.
I get it.
And I was like, you know what? Let me start looking. I need to find someone who specializes in this. And that's what I started doing, because my parents were big proponents. And if you don't know what to do, you follow the people that are doing it and doing it well. And I said, I need to find experts in natural hair who are making this look good, who are not looking like they rolled out of bed in the morning and trying to make someone accept this as a hairstyle.
I get it. And I think a lot of men go through what you're going through on another level. But the thing you're talking about too is when you go natural, is there's a lot of stress at the beginning, because it's a nervousness, it's a change of identity, and you're thinking, is it more work? Is it less work? Am I going to look worse? Am I going to look better? But once you do get a handle on it, it's like you broke out of, prison a little bit. Because even with me, I had hair at one time, really great hair. Everybody would always be talking about my hair. I had like the thickest head of hair, and even clippers would be jammed because it was so thick. So I was kind of known for my hair, but all of a sudden in my mid-20s, all my hair just started to fall out. And my father's huge. He was a very well-known hairstylist in Chicago in the 60s.
Okay.
He was one of the top hairstylists, and he even cut hair for like Paul Newman and Hugh Hefner and all these people.
Wow.
And, he was always with his hair, even though if he was losing hair, he made it look incredible. And he's still obsessed with his hair. And, guys, especially back, I would say in the 90s, even 80s, 90s, 2000s, they didn't want to go bald. It is not what
Right.
right?
Right. It
I mean,
was
you really
not, it
had,
was frowned upon.
you had Jordan kind of come into play, who really changed the game a little bit.
Right.
Maybe Bruce Willis a little bit. Maybe Jason Statham came in a little later, right? And European soccer players are balding now, or The Rock, let's say, for instance, bald is kind of cool now. But I remember when I shaved my head, I just said, I had my first film, and I said after my last day of shooting, because I couldn't change it because I looked like Tony Soprano. I was heavy and I always had a slick back Italian hair. I said, I'm shaving my hair and I'm done. And I did it, and I've never gone back. But a lot of my friends got the plugs, toupees. I mean, a lot of they couldn't believe, they thought I'd be the first one, like being like so obsessed with maybe the way I look to a certain degree. I'm like, I want freedom. I also don't want to look like I have a tube, or, I don't want to maintain that. I don't want hair plugs. I don't want any of it. This is who I am. I'm very comfortable. I'm not interested right now, at least Botox or plastic surgery. And I'm very comfortable with the way I look, and I get other people aren't. But like what you're saying too is, I just wanted to be me, and I just wanted to keep moving forward. Right.
Right.
So the one thing that did help me, because I always was clean shaved though. And then I didn't like when I went real clean here, because I'm lighter skinned. Like I could get dark, but I didn't want to be a cue ball. And then my cousin, who cuts hair for film and television, she said, Rich, you got to go with 5 o'clock shadow, or get some color on your face. And I kind of use fake tanner once in a while if I'm not in Florida or whatever, just to have some color. And by doing that, it helped me out unbelievably, I think. And it helps a lot of people now. Maybe if you don't like being bald, but maybe growing some facial hair. And it's like I said earlier, it softens the eyes, brings color to the face. And a lot of us we grew up, especially as Italians, you always had to be clean shaving, always clean shaving.
Right.
When you kind of grow some facial hair and you keep it clean, you can do a lot of great things with it. But if you're just looking at yourself as being bald all the time, it's hard a lot. And that goes for women too. Women bald too. So it's
right.
You got to sometimes work with it. You got to work with it.
You do. You have to work with
what you have.
And I think one of the things that was really freeing to me was when someone said, hey, you know what? You can still wear a wig.
Whenever you want.
You can still. And I was like, wait a minute, I can. I can. And that was really freeing to me, was I could still be who I wanted to be, when I wanted to be it. And let me tell you something, guys, you are going to go through a few looks with me. This is like, I'm comfortable with this right now, but trust me, girlfriend changes, queen pin changes. I have moments. I can be blonde, I can be red. What is it Ryan said? I can be purple, I can be blue. I can be violet sky. I can be all of that.
I write about that in my book, The Model Bible, with women a lot of times who want to improve their image or maybe change just in general. And I start a lot of times with the hair, but too many women commit and they go too deep. They cut their hair too much. They change their colors too much. I said, listen, the easiest way to go about it, even go to a wig store. You don't even have to buy yet. Try on all different wigs, all different sizes. Just take photos of yourself. If you do like a certain look, or you see a celebrity, or you see a whoever that has the hairstyle you like, you go buy the damn wig, right? You wear it for a few days. After a few days, you still love it, go have it done. But I'll bet you after 2-3 days, you get sick of it. And you're like, you know what? I kind of did this. Even if it's just around the house, you don't even have to go out in public. Same with men. A lot of dudes, they want to do all this shit to their hair, like even get a toupee. But if they want to go blonde, I just told this to my girlfriend's son. He's thinking about going blonde. He's an age. I said, dude, go buy a wig. I'm just telling you, for $20, you could go to a costume store, throw it on at your house, just wear it on your computer, keep looking at yourself, make sure that's what you want. But I'll bet you in a day or two, you may not want it. If you love it, go do it. But instead of committing, getting the cut, spending all this money, hair's kind of a lot easier to work with than you think to a certain degree. But too many people commit, much of their hair off, go with wacky shit, and then they also don't realize all the maintenance that's involved with that, the coloring, and the expense. So because that actually, believe it or not, happened to Neo, my son. He went and decided, for whatever reason, and I think this is when all the kids, and the funny thing was,
he and a friend of his didn't speak to each other, but both decided they were going to dye their hair blue.
Right.
First, he didn't realize he had to bleach his hair.
Right.
So, of course, we go through the bleaching process. Now comes the color. Fine. Color's great. He comes to first wash. Mom, my hair is changing. I know.
Yep.
After a month, then now it's looking kind of green.
I
didn't sign up for this green because you're not maintaining it, because you didn't know what you needed to do.
Sure.
So yeah, the commitment level has to be there. And I tell you, within a month and a half, he's like, I need to get this cut out.
Yeah.
I need to shave it off.
Right. It's interesting when I work with people with their identity, there's two different ways I go about it. If it's kind of wardrobe or fashion, I start with the shoes. But when it's a lot of times with people wanting to change their look, I start with the hair and I work my way down kind of. I don't care if it's a man or a woman, because I think if you're not comfortable with the do you're wearing, you're in trouble, right? Let's say, I don't care what type of shape you're in. I don't care how many great clothes. If your hair is a mess or you're not happy with your color, your style, where are we going with that? Kind of start at the head. We kind of work our way down. Let's make sure our eyebrows look good, because let's face it, you're looking at each other constantly. Make sure your eyes look good. You're the eye color you want to be. We want to make sure we don't have nose hairs sticking out of your ears, nose, and we want to make sure your teeth are relatively in decent shape, right? Let's start with that.
Right.
That's where I think a lot of people, just by changing some of this or improving a little bit on it, it's a game changer for them. They don't even realize it. Right. And then I work on the body a little bit, because let's face it, you can wear, again, all the clothes you want to wear, but if you are way out of shape or you don't look good, if you're out of proportion, your body, if your legs are huge and your upper body's small, or you're huge here and you got, tiny legs, if your neck shoe, and again, you can look any way you want, but if you want to make these changes, we got to create a plan that works specifically for you.
Right. So and that's the thing. That's the thing. And I think one of the things is, it was meant to look great on the mannequin. And again, I've worked in fashion, and sometimes what you don't see is that mannequin up against the wall has like pins and little clamps holding it back to make it look the way we want it to look. So even on the mannequin, it's not looking the way it's made. So when you put it on and you're like, this looks horrible. Yeah, because we styled the mannequin the way we wanted the mannequin to look. We played dress up with the mannequin. Yeah.
Most people don't look like a mannequin. It's called for what it is too. And a lot of people don't also realize it's not just, if you're in a dressing room, you can kind of see behind you, but you still don't really have a really true clarity of what you look like from the side, the back, when you sit with these clothes, right? When you sit, a lot of men too, like we discussed this earlier, like you stand up, they suck their stomach and they may look in decent shape. Then they sit down and all of a sudden they got a beach ball when they're sitting. And most of the time, let's face it, we're sitting for dinner. We're sitting at the office. We're sitting meeting people. So when you meet a lot of guys, you could see in a suit or dress clothes, you shake their hand, you sit down, all of a sudden they got this huge, they start breathing. And you can tell now it's too tight, or are your clothes way too loose, right? So now you're trying to hide it on the other end. So these are all things people have to take a realistic approach on. Men
and that's the thing, is not necessarily going with the first thing you try. Because I don't know if you remember when corsets were a big thing in like the late 90s.
Yeah.
Well, I recognize that you can't eat or sit normally or breathe regularly, because you have to kind of learn how to position yourself, and drinking things is not your friend. So you have to, again, it's really about being comfortable with who you are. If you're going to take a look, go slowly into it. I think one of the things, and we need to really keep stressing this, is not to jump into something that you're going to have to commit to. don't jump into it, because let's put it this way. If you're spending $300 on a waist trainer and a bustier or a corset, you're going to definitely want to wear that. Whereas if you went and said, hey, let me find one that's not so expensive for $30, $50, I'm going to try it out. If I don't like it, I can give it to consignment. I can give it to a girlfriend, whatever. Now you find out if you like it, if this is the life for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Consistency.
Yeah.
Committing and being consistent.
Yeah.
And being, like you said earlier, comfortable, because a lot of women, I'll say, a lot of times you may love the way that shoe looks, but it's destroying you. So they're not even, they're not even telling you that throughout the night they're miserable instead of enjoying themselves. Same with men, with a lot of times with clothes, especially now I see it's overly tailored, and you see that where a lot of stuff is so, it's too tight, and they could barely lift their arms up. And you're like, listen, you gotta have an identity or an image that you love. You love looking like. You also have to be comfortable in everything you're wearing. We don't want to put you in a position where you sit down and you can't breathe, like you said. Like, a lot of men do this. They wear very fitted clothes, and they don't even realize too, the back or the sides when they sit again, or if they're in their car, or if they're even having discussions, their pants are too tight if you're wearing skinny jeans. And you can, again, I tell people, dress any which way you want, but I'm all about making it not only look great, but being comfortable in it.
Right. Right.
And I want to be very, just being able to move, and I don't want to sweat to death. I think going back and forth to Florida throughout my life, you got to realize you can only dress sometimes a certain way depending in the area that you're living in.
Yes.
If it's July here and I'm walking around in a 3-piece suit, I'm going to be profusely sweating. Not only that, I'm going to probably look, unless it's like a convention or maybe a wedding or a doing, walking around in that, and I could walk around any way I want. But again, if I'm sweating or I look like it's just, then it's wrinkling on me, you got to understand, you're going to dress different in a state of Florida than I am in Chicago or the East Coast, right? So all these things people have to learn how to do. And again, be comfortable doing it. Because a lot of corporate dudes are like, I can only look this way all the time. I'm like, you can look great even wearing golf wear, right? I'm just saying, you look at Tiger Woods, he looks magnificent on the golf course compared to almost all those other golfers. Why is he special? Because he puts the time and effort into wearing the right type of clothes. He looks clean, he matches. And that can go for anything, but I'm all about being comfortable too.
And I think that's the thing, is, like I said, being comfortable, looking for those parents. Look at your 5-year-old. Look at your 5-year-old. Look at your 5-year-old who is comfortable wearing a feather boa with star glasses, galoshes, and saying, Mom, I'm ready for lunch. Or your little boy that's comfortable dressing like a dinosaur and wearing a bow tie.
Yeah, I go through this with a lot of my friends, that some are real estate, some are lawyers, some are whatever. And here's the deal too. No matter what I'm wearing, say you catch me off guard and they're like, Rich, after work, we're all going for cigars and I'm at the gym. I will go meet them there. Now I'm in athletic wear. They're all dressed up. I'm comfortable. I get everybody at the cigar shop looks like a golfer, is wearing a sport coat, or is dressed up, or had meetings. I don't give a shit. Nothing. I would have not dressed like that if I went there. Probably if I was at home, I would dress accordingly. But sometimes, you are going to be in places where you are underdressed. You may also be overdressed. You still have to understand you should be comfortable in those environments. Because if you're comfortable, they're comfortable. I don't walk in there, and I think a lot of women go through that. Like, I can't go meet you now. I didn't have my hair done, or I can't do this. Go in there, put your hair up, go in and have fun. And just say, hey, I was at the gym, or hey, I was having just coffee. I didn't know you girls were having a night out. They may be going to a movie, right? It may be girls' night out, and they invite you on a whim, and you're somewhere else. And I see so many people blow that, like, oh, I can't go there. I'm not dressed for the occasion. You're like, you know what? They invited you. You're in the area. Just go.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. But you got to be comfortable a lot of times with what you're wearing at that point in time, regardless the situation you end up in. But don't always restrict yourself. Like, all the girls are going to be dressed for this, or all the guys are going to be, I go to my buddy's real estate office.
And I don't care. We do it in relationships. Exactly. Well, tell me where we're going tonight Because it's date night. Tell me where we're going, because I don't want to be overdressed and I don't want to be underdressed. No, just be yourself.
Yeah, and you get a lot of people too saying, hey, what are you going to wear? I'm like, don't worry what I'm going to wear. You wear what you're going to wear. What are you going to be comfortable with?
Exactly.
What do you think? I'm going to, like, well, what, are you going to wear a sport coat or not? Or should I just wear, are you going to wear a tie or not? Are you wearing dress pants? Or are you wearing jeans? And then they're trying to convince you it's casual or it's this or that. I'm like, why are you even worried about how I'm going to, are you afraid I'm going to overdress you? I'm going to underdress? You should know how you want to dress according to where we're going, not to what I'm going to be wearing and what Joey's going to be wearing, what's Miguel going to be wearing, what's Jim going to be wearing. Who gives a shit? Just go. If you're going to a gala, an event, if you want my advice on what you should wear is different. There's a big difference between that and saying, hey, Rich, what do you think I should wear? I'm going to try this and that and maybe this. And I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good. But there's a difference. And I think a lot of women go through that where it's more worrying about what other people are going to look like other than what they're going to look like. So.
Yeah. That is so true.
That correctly? I think so.
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay.
So I can safely say, let's wrap this thing up. One thing is, guys, be comfortable with who you are. Be comfortable with what you're wearing. Don't worry about because they really don't care. Not really. They're worried about themselves. They're worried about you judging them. So be comfortable with who you are, what you're wearing. And like I said, ladies, remember 13-year-old you that was looking in the mirror with the hairbrush microphone?
Yeah.
Be her.
Yeah.
Remember, be her from the moment that you put your underwear on to the moment you are ready to do last looks before you walk out the door to go to work. And you find out how much of a difference it makes.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies is 13 Going on 30. I'm not kidding. I watch it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I love that movie. My daughters love it. And my girlfriend, her friend looks just like her in that film. And they're very similar personalities. It's hilarious. But in that movie is exactly what you're talking about. Is like a lot of us lose our the child in us, or the creativity, or having just fun and just kind of expressing ourselves in other ways too, not just maybe with wardrobe or image or the way we're talking. It's maybe just having fun. Like you go out with your girlfriends, bring them some flowers, like you said. Maybe have some fun that day. Whatever it is, it's
have fun.
Yeah, have fun. What the hell are we doing anything if we're not having fun? I think one of our episodes should definitely be about shopping, because I think a lot of people don't know how to shop correctly. Okay. Especially for their image. Okay. And I think even men and women are like, no, I know how to shop. Of course, I go to the mall and I try shit on, or whenever I try it on, and I go in the dresser, and if I like it, it looks good, I take it home. But I'm like, it's again having the confidence to go to the store you really want to go to. Also working within the budget you have. Also not buying things, having to return it, like that mindset, like shopper's remorse. It's crowds, because a lot of people have all these issues when they are shopping, because again, a lot of times they don't have the confidence in what they're buying.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, guys,
that's it.
That's it. That is it. If you have any questions for us, remember, make sure you're listening to the Rich CELENZA Show. What the F is Rich saying? Okay, all the information will be in the show notes as well. Make sure you're listening to CQP Moments, because you're getting a lot of all this, plus how to budget, where your budget should be. So yeah.
Yep. We all got a budget unless you're loaded. I'm kidding.
Well, I haven't been that loaded yet. I'd love to be that loaded, but I haven't been that loaded yet. I mean, have you not to budget?
I used to make a lot of, I've had my ups and downs throughout many, many years, even decades, where I made a tremendous amount of money. And then I've hit rock bottom numerous times as well. I think like a lot of people that take risks, especially when you start getting in the film and entertainment industry. And then my daughters both had some health issues. One had a liver transplant, so the medical finances on that. And then my other little one has type 1 diabetes. So you incorporate a lot of different things. You're going to have, no one goes unscathed usually with finances, even very wealthy people, because a lot of them take high risks. So a lot of people don't realize, even though they're wealthy, they may be running a company. They may look like they have a lot of money, and they may, but they also have a lot of stress, a lot of expenses too. So I think for the most part, though, most of society I talk about really wants to, have an incredible life and do it affordably, not get ripped off. Even most of the savviest businessmen I know are the cheapest. I'd hate to say it. And one of the reasons they're have a lot or they're successful is because they're frugal.
Yes.
So I think
I had a boss that ate hot dogs every day.
Yeah, you think these millionaires, a lot of them are living millionaire lifestyles. Quite the opposite.
No,
Those are the ones
not.
you're going to find at Dollar General, like we talked about. You're going to see them at Walmart, Target. I have so many family members, a lot that are millionaires. And believe me when I tell you, they have kids. And one of their famous expressions is, do we need it? Do we need it? Right. And I always think about that. Like wherever they go, the kids, I want this, I want that, or it could be their wives, could be anybody. Do you really need it? Do you need it? They're like, well, do you really need another pair of shoes? Do you really need another coat? Do you really need another stuffed animal? Do you need it? Saying if you don't need it, a lot of times, why spend your money on it?
Yeah.
So
guys, that's it.